Hi, my name is William Wong. This is for the class for R342, and I want to talk about a little bit about the economy and the political spectrum that deals with how to rebuild Afghanistan or some of the countries in the Middle East, such as Iraq, and just trying to basically talk about why or how to transform it to like a better or more prosperous country with a working political system that works just like Saudi Arabia, for example. To give a little background, trend has been that the bigger the economy equals like the bigger the military and a ratio in any of the countries you've seen in the world. Um, Economic growth is seen most fundamental to achieving prosperous and stable societies. So, in a sense, economy, we would say first, economy is like one of the most important things that uh, we would start stepping on to, well, first eliminating our debt so that they can actually provide for their own Afghan police or their equipment or cars or uh, military supplies, Humvees, and that sort. But there are always exceptions that some countries ignore the welfare of their people and pose a military, just like um, North Korea, which also has gone through much money and food to its military. Not only that, but spending more money on its nuclear, which totally neglects the welfare of the people and requires other countries to give them supplies and food and basically all the resources come from mostly like China or Russia. In Afghanistan, what we're trying to say is for rebuilding it in Afghanistan, the agreement is Marshall Plan or no Marshall Plan versus the World War II standard and against what we're handling right now, because do we need one? And that's what most of the senators are saying. John Kerry and McCain have said that we should have one, but without a viable economy, I feel that the Marshall Plan or any supplies or any funding going towards that would not be helpful at all. Just because there's people feel like that's no hope, or I feel like people should willingly, its own people want to rebuild it, and to a certain point that we should be hands free. And what's preventing that is usually religious violence, because it always hinders the economic development. Corruption, of course. I mean, I think Afghanistan made about 13.5 GDP in billions in 2009, but due to corruption, $3 billion disappeared, and that's like what 22%. And you go to, look in the video, stats tell me that, but the people there are actually really poor, and in terms of inequality, there's a high inequality just because corruption and unfairness, and it's everything that harms political intuition. I feel that first we gotta stop off with just working on the working on rebuilding the political side before we can concentrate on anything else.